Welcome back. Now we have a few RIPE, IX and such presentations in the second half of the morning, and I welcome Vesna to the stage. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Vesna, and I'm very happy to be here again. I love the SwiNOG event, and I'm super happy to be again at the top of the hill with you. I am a senior community builder at RIPE NCC. For the completeness, I am going to make a short introduction about what RIPE NCC is, but I do want to hear how many of you are the members of the RIPE NCC. Okay, almost everyone. Yeah, well, still, for the people watching this video later, RIPE NCC is a membership association whose one of the main tasks is to distribute IP resources in Europe, Middle East, and the former Soviet republics. And we are the Network Coordination Center for the RIPE community. And we do many other tasks like operating a K-root server, being very involved with the internet governance, and maintaining the measurements and tools, large measurement infrastructures that I'm going to present today. So you're going to see the 7 views of Switzerland with a hint to Hokusai. And these are some of the tools and services that I'm going to explain. How can you use it not only to see the country level internet, but also to see your own network and to use it for troubleshooting and so on. The first one is, again, very pointillistic and artistic. This is the view of RIPE Atlas probes in Switzerland. RIPE Atlas probes are small devices. I have one here. It's packed, so you can't really see it, but it is used to do the pings and trace routes and DNS lookups from where it is plugged in, let's say your network, towards a lot of other networks in the internet, either the targets that you decide yourself or the ones that we program, which are important for the function of the internet, like root name servers, or and then this is the best part, other people can use your probe to do the measurements towards any target that they would like to monitor or to test the reachability to. And inverse is also true. If you take part in the RIPE Atlas, you can use other people's probes to do your own measurements. And there is currently more than 12,000 active probes. This project has been going on for more than 10 years, so there's actually more dead probes than alive. So we have distributed more than 20,000, and a lot of them stopped working, or people forgot to plug them in again. But there is more and more being always added to the network. So it's really probably the largest scale network with open data. So all of this information is available both to the users, the people who are hosting these probes, and to the internet community in general. It is mostly used by researchers, but it's actually very useful for the network operators also too. And most of the maps don't look this pretty. They look much more functional. For example, this one. Again, it's Switzerland, but you can see these little dots, and the color coding means which root name server is accessed by which one of these probes. And so that depends on the operator network, where it is situated, or how is your home connectivity set up. And here at the bottom you can see the color coding of the most ones are the E root name server and D root name server. Ours, the K, only has 77 probes, and the others have 99. And so this might be interesting for you to figure out, like, which root name server would you prefer to access, or is it just random, or what is the actually RTT? So there is another view, which is again less pretty. So I'm choosing deliberately to show you the prettiest ones, but the more functional one actually shows you the latency between any of these probes and the root name servers. Then my colleague Emil has developed this other visualization tool called IXP Country Jedi, and it basically takes all of the probes within a country and makes the measurement between each one of them. So it's like a mesh measurement between these probes, and then it looks into the trace route paths and geolocates them and sees, like, where are these trace routes going through. So you can see a lot of tromboning for the V4 and a little bit less for V6, but also it's less traffic. So you can also see the difference in deployment between IPv6 and IPv4 in Switzerland. And so this is a map visualization, but on this URL you can see other different visualizations where you can actually follow these trace route paths and see the times also, and why are they, and all the hops, and why are they going that way, and then you can fix it. Like, if this is not what you were trying to achieve, then you can do some troubleshooting later. In the bonus slides, you can see all kinds of colorful meshes, and maybe if I have time, I will go there and explain what they mean. The next one only shows Switzerland as a concept, as a country, because this one is made on top of the excuse me, RIPE Atlas measurements using a tool called Observable. Again, my colleague Emil Aben developed this, and the smaller map shows how are the probes from all around the world connected to the, in this case, Swisscom network, and what is their latency. And so you can see, like, kind of geographical spread. But then in Europe, the latency towards Swisscom is, there are negligible differences. Everything is green, so everything is perfect. But again, this tool can visualize your troubleshooting, so you can see where are the problem areas in the world where regarding how is your network interconnected. Another thing that I'd like to invite you to is to play with this tool, because it's an open source software, and you can make changes to it. Emil would be really happy if you would suggest some changes or make them yourself. And an oldie but goldie, it shows the ripeness of the IPv6 deployment in Switzerland. And it's kind of okay. There is 27% of all the members of the RIPE NCC or LIRs that have done everything about their IPv6 deployment. So they have got an allocation, they have registered the route object, set up the reverse DNS, and they have announced their prefix, and we see them in another tool that we use, Routing Information Service. So in that case, they receive 4 stars. We used to have this program where they would also receive a t-shirt, and then all these other ones that have only 2 stars and 3 stars, they would kind of try to get a t-shirt, and that's like the best incentive for IPv6 deployment, apparently, because otherwise a lot of people don't see any reason why should they do that. In spite of all of our efforts and talking about it and trying to encourage it year over year, but here we are. On the other hand, there is still 23% of all the LIRs in Switzerland that didn't even ask for the IPv6 allocation. And I encourage you this way to start with your deployment, do all of these activities, and then you might get 4 stars. But that still doesn't mean that you're doing any actual operations. So we started measuring how much actual deployment is there, and then we added the fifth star. Either if you access network or content network, we do different measurements, and then we make a list of the companies that have achieved the fifth star. So if you go to this page, you can see that list for Switzerland. The small little letters there on the slide probably you can't read. Of course, all of this is available for all the other countries in the world. So not only in our service region, because we have members from all around the world. How many of you do have 5 stars? Do you know? Yeah? Did you get a t-shirt? Okay, talk to me later. Wait a minute, now I lost my binary train of thought. This is 5, this is 6. So the RPKI, routing public key infrastructure. So basically provisioning of the routing security. The first step that you can make is creating an ROA. And so we count them for the Swiss address space. And it looks like you're doing great. Like this line looks really good, until you compare it with another country like Serbia. And then you can see the relative differences and the percentage of the network. So about 50% of Swiss networks have deployed RPKI or are using ROAs. And so there is still some homework for you to do. And finally, one of my favorite topics recently, sustainability in tech. So here are some of the newspapers articles about the green tech in Switzerland. For example, the electricity usage of the whole country is kind of dominated by the data centers. Compared to the number of data centers, they use a huge amount of energy, up to 4%. The first link is a new kind of routing protocol and routing infrastructure developed here in Switzerland. They also say that it is more sustainable routing. So this is why I included it in this slide. Is there somebody from Sion here at SwiNOG? Because I'd like to talk with you later. Oh, well, no, never mind. Oh, yes, perfect. Can we talk later? Thank you. Yeah, we have to talk. No, it's a good one. We have to talk. And then the next one, apparently your universities are also quite progressive, and they have get together to agree and to become like a larger force demanding the green energy and the more sustainability in the ICT sector. And the very old one, coming also from Switzerland, there was a question like, what would it even mean to be more sustainable? And the one idea was 2,000 watts per human. And there was already for 20-something years an attempt here in Switzerland to reduce the personal usage by creating the towns or neighborhoods and leading towards a society that would be more sustainable. So yeah, that looks like a great example for the other societies that didn't even think about it. So this is what I like about Switzerland, and you can read more about sustainability on RIPE Labs. RIPE Labs is a blog platform by the RIPE NCC where we publish our announcements, but also other people publish their research, and you are invited to also publish there. This was what I prepared for my initially 10-minute talk, but I have more slides. So can you tell me how am I doing with time? 10 more minutes? Perfect. So since a lot of you are members of the RIPE NCC, please answer this survey. We come up with these kind of membership and community surveys every few years. Last one was in 2019. And it's very valuable for us as a not-for-profit company to know how we are doing, because we can't really measure by like comparing how our products doing on the market or anything like that. So we would like both members and the community to tell us what should we do better, and then we record that, report back on that, and so on. So please take a survey. It takes 15 minutes, and it really means a lot to us. And then we will be doing better services for you also. And the next one, since I have time, I'll cover this one first, because as the European Network Coordination Center, we also keep track of all the other national network operators groups, and we support them by sponsorship, by providing help and advice. And we also keep a calendar of all the NOG events and a map of where these NOGs are. So SwiNOG is either the oldest or one of the oldest European NOGs, but the newest ones could probably use your help and at least advice and to learn from your experiences. So the really youngest one that I know of is a Belgian NOG. There were a few people, very young, not even 18, that came to the RIPE meeting in Rotterdam last month and said like, oh yeah, we want to do something with the local community. And so they will organize meetings sometime in the autumn, but they already have a website, and yeah, you can join them or like follow what they're doing. Then the other two very young NOGs are dear to my heart because they're from ex-Yugoslavia. One of them is a Bosnian NOG and the other one is a Croatian NOG. They will have back-to-back meetings also in the autumn, sometime in October. They don't have a date yet because, you know, Balkans, they leave it for the last moment. But they'll get there. And then there is Hungarian NOG. They already have a date. The website you can't read, it's in Hungarian. No, I'm joking, you can. And yeah, so there is, these are the nice new ones that maybe, yeah, will have different speakers, a young community, and maybe you want to share your experiences, maybe you want to go there and learn something from them. Then another interesting discussion for your community is happening on the Address Policy Working Group regarding the policies for distributing AS numbers. And should they change? What the criteria should be, because right now the criteria is very minimal and people just, and you don't have to pay for the AS number. So those are two different discussions. But there seems to be some people who are kind of hoarding these AS numbers, and the RIPE NCC has raised the alarm, like maybe we should slow this down, maybe the community should tell us what should the criteria be. Should you get the first one for free and then you have to pay, you know, the very good way of doing a drugs business, or should it be that like you can get several of them and then you have to pay, or whatever? Like you should tell us the criteria, and then we can discuss it. You can do that on the mailing list, because most of you are old enough to actually prefer mailing lists, like myself. Or there is a forum, .ripe.net, where you can talk about these things. I am guessing that the lights mean that I have to stop soon, no? Oh, you just want to see me better? Well, thanks. The previous slide that I skipped is where do we want to see more RIPE Atlas probes? The first, let's say, 10 years, we were just giving them to everybody, and the goal was expansion. So we have expanded around the world and in a lot of networks, but now there is kind of this balance. Some networks have too many probes. And then we were trying, or some researchers were trying to figure out, but how many should there be? So there is a tool developed by Petros, one of our interns and later colleagues, who tried to measure the market percentage of a provider within a country and then see how many RIPE Atlas probes they have and then rank them. And so Switzerland is kind of covered very well. Like there is more than 90% of all the population percentage-wise, but there is still a few networks and I wonder if they're here. So is Telezug? Okay. So maybe then they can get one, but also other people from other countries than Switzerland, because now I looked up just Switzerland, basically. Yeah, so maybe we can talk about it in the breaks. If you think that you have an interesting location for the RIPE Atlas probe, for us, interesting means that we are not already there. And that network doesn't have too many probes. So let's talk about that. And let's leave some time for questions. So I will skip these. They're quite pretty, but I will skip them. And I will finish with the invitation for the survey again. So thank you very much for your attention.
Questions?
Sorry. Yeah, a quick question related to the probes. Do you have any statistics on the failure rate of probes? I've been running 3 of them for the last, well, since they were released originally, and I've had different outages and problems and had to rebuild some of them. So if you've got any data, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, we do. I don't have them on the slides, but I can send you those graphs later. We had several generations of those probes, and so this is now in a black packaging. The previous one was a white one, like small TP-Link, and it had external USB dongle, and that was a reason that a lot of them failed. And so we tried to find like a software solution to it. Some of them were recovered, but a lot of people just lost patience and just forgot about them. So there is a lot of advantages to having a hardware device, but there is also a lot of problems with logistics and troubleshooting. And so nowadays we also have a software probe. It's just a software package you can install somewhere. Well, from our perspective, it's a software probe. On your end, it will have to be a hardware, something that you install it on. And we also have more powerful devices called RIPE Atlas anchors, which also started as a larger server, and now we have a virtual version of an anchor, and that might also be a better solution if you are an ISP, if you operate a data center. Maybe you want a server rather than a small device, which is more suitable for homes and so on.
I'm coming. Sorry. You showed statistics regarding RPKI. How many ROAS there are for Switzerland?
I will have to take a look specifically. Like here, it says 2,658. So does that?
My actual question is, do you also have some statistics or ways to measure how many networks are also validating?
We do. I didn't cover that, so I think I'll have to post a lot of these answers to your mailing list in order to get back to you. Or I can advise you to go to the routing working group mailing list, and then there has been statistics being published there regularly, or you can ask there. But I will, if you talk to me in the break, and then we can exchange the details, and then I can answer directly to you.
Thank you.
So I will add something as well. So for the statistics, like which networks have ROAS, there is a tool from Manners, the Internet Society, called ROAS Stats. And you can see for each network what ROAs they have, how they validate, and how not. While for the validation, you can check a tool called ROA Vista, and that is related to a paper that was written by University of it's Georgia Tech, and they developed a way to figure out if a network is doing validation. The paper has not been published yet, but they published the statistics. So you can see which networks in the world do validation or not according to their methodology.
And I also want to add that although this is for Switzerland, at the stat.ripe.net you can also check statistics per network. So it's not only for a country, but you can check your own network.
I'm doing that really bad. Not a question, a comment. I did a talk about how to create your ROAS some years ago at SwiNOG. You can go back to these slides because they are still valid. And it's really easy if you didn't do that.
Thank you. Yes, so 50% of Swiss operators did follow your talk, but the other 50% still have to do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Vesna.